Today, CNN is reporting that amongst other documents that were presented to President Obama and upcoming President Donald Trump, which is still difficult to say, is evidence provided by a former member of the British intelligence community of MI6 that Russian officials possess compromising personal and financial information about Trump and either could or possibly have attempted to compromise him as a result of that information. Now, this is a two-page addendum to the classified report that was put out last week. It had previously only been presented to the president-elect, and 8 other congressional leaders. Not even other senators or members of Congress or even James Comey originally were privy to that information. CIA says that now they have confirmed that the former British intelligence operative is credible, although the FBI is still investigating, and they have not finished their own investigation. They say that several essential pieces of evidence in the memos still have to be checked. So this is not an area where all aspects of the intelligence community are in agreement that this is true and can be believed. But that information is there. As part of that synopsis, we also have, which was previously reported, that apparently Trump surrogates and operatives for the Russian government had a continuing flow of communication during the campaign. That was part of the information that was presented to Obama and Trump last week. Not surprisingly, the Trump transition team has declined requests for comment on this information.
Okay, so I will say this until I win. Because it is obvious, and no one acknowledges it now, but they will in 2 to 3 years when all this becomes more apparent. Rex Tillerson is the evidence. So you're wondering, well, I mean, how do you know he worked with the Russians? The Russians had a $500 billion deal with ExxonMobil. The sanctions that Obama put into place ended that $500 billion deal. Now, the idea of picking the ExxonMobil CEO as Secretary of State is so weird, out of place, out of the ordinary. It doesn't make any sense. If you want to put him as, for example, Secretary of Treasury, that would make more sense because he's a business person and maybe he could help there. Secretary of Commerce, maybe you want to, really screw over workers, Secretary of Labor. But Secretary of State, Secretary of State is, thank you very much, Russia. We really appreciate your help. So in return, we will give you your favorite person. The guy who runs Russia's largest oil company says because of the sanctions, he's banned from America. He says his main wish is to come back and ride motorcycles on our highways with Rex Tillerson. He said that before the election. So Rex Tillerson got got a medal from Putin. So when you give the guy who has a $500 billion contract with Putin and who Putin has given a medal to the position of Secretary of State when he has no qualifications and no one would have ever thought of that, that is your evidence that is a giant thank you gift to the Russians who clearly helped you. Now, that's not the only reason Hillary Clinton lost the election. I don't think we should redo the election. I don't
understand why that's even a part of the conversation.
People drive me crazy with that stuff. But if you think that the Russians didn't help Trump, and there's no evidence. Why? I don't know what you're doing. I never. And all these intelligence officials are all making it up, and they're all part of some global conspiracy. Then why the hell did he put Rex Tillerson as our Secretary of State? So wakey. And I'm not saying that I know every single piece of evidence there because it's just coming out.
Yeah,
right?
The FBI is still investigating it. I don't know what they'll end up saying.
But I guarantee you at some point, I don't know if it's 2-3 years down the road, you know what people are going to say? Yeah, why did he put Tillerson in? It seems like that was a $500 billion gift to Putin.
Well, we'll see if that deal comes back. Look, I don't know who ended up doing it. What I want is more investigation. That's why I am against people who are trying to shut down conversation about this. And for some reason, that is a big thing. And look, this potentially bothers me more than spreading fake news or hacking emails or whatever. That basically, whatever influence that had, ended. Okay? Now, Hillary Clinton is off in the woods. She's hiking. She will be hiking for the next few years. Nobody cares about that anymore. But Donald Trump is still going to be president. And if they had information, personal or financial information that was compromising for Donald Trump, that doesn't just matter for the last election, which is now history. That matters for the future. That is what we are going to be investigating. That's what we're going to be fighting against going off into the future. If he has compromising information, and Trump is exactly the sort of person who appears to be exactly the sort to be manipulated by that sort of information, then that can affect policy going forward. To say that that should be disregarded, that we shouldn't talk about it, that it has anything to do with Hillary Clinton is ridiculous. It is a surrender against reality going forward. And by the way, again, and I understand some people want to just say it's just the CIA that says it. Whatever. I don't trust the CIA. I got no interest in the CIA. It's a long, long list of people, some of which are big fans of Hillary Clinton, have worked for her, some of which are huge enemies of her. James Comey says that the evidence is clear. He clearly doesn't like Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump over the weekend put out the Reince Priebus that he believes it was Russia. Bernie Sanders says it looks incredibly likely last night at the town hall. This is not just the CIA. They could all be wrong. That is entirely possible. But it is now a broad range of people on the left and on the right, people we don't trust, people we do trust, who have looked at the data and believe it.
Yeah. I'm going to stop having a conversation with you folks who are still in the, oh, no, this is the new McCarthyism. You know, this, I got no animus against Russia. The Russian people are, of course, the Russian people are fine. You know what they are? They're human beings. So this isn't anything that's anti-Russia. Open your eyes, right? And if you want to insist on more evidence, God bless your heart. I'll be right there with you, brother, because I would like this to be as open and transparent as possible because, well, as John pointed out, this is enormously important for the future. But hear me now, quote me later. Donald Trump will not do a thing against Russia. It doesn't matter what Russia does. Trump will not draw the line against them. So is it because they've got something on him? Well, that is now apparently in play. But what do I base my thoughts on? Well, what we've already seen. So no matter what Putin did, no matter what atrocities were committed in Syria or otherwise, no matter what land was taken in from other countries, Trump was like, oh, that's a good, strong leader. That's a good person.
Smart.
That's what's smart. Hey, why don't you hack into Hillary Clinton more? Hey, Russia's great. I don't know. That's strong. Yeah, wonderful. And you would think that he would want to show that he's strong and maybe thump his chest a little bit. But when it comes to Putin, all of a sudden he's the one just bending and bending. That is very unlike Trump. Wakey, wakey. I don't know what exactly it is, but there's clearly something there. Rex Tillerson is the gift, at a minimum, along with all the praise that he has showered upon Putin, to show you that, yes, he has some relationship with the Russians.
And by the way, for those who want this debate to be over, for us to not talk about the potential that he's been compromised in the future, it's likely that you're about to get your wish. Because in about 10 days, these investigations end. The CIA is not going to continue this investigation. The FBI is not going to continue this investigation. It's done. We may never know at this point. And so in a few years, when we have another election, God only knows what will happen because we won't have found out or done anything about the people who interfered the last time. Regardless of who it is, if it's a state or non-state actor, an individual or a collective, whether they're in Europe or Russia or Madagascar, we may never know at this point.
You know, this is so fitting because the Republicans are nothing but wall-to-wall hypocrisy. Every single thing they claim, they do the opposite. Oh, we're for balanced budgets. They shred budgets. They destroy budgets, add to deficits, way more than Democrats do, just to do a little bit of research and understand the reality of the facts of the situation, right? So in this case, the Republicans, for all my life, actually did do McCarthyism and did do the Red Scare. Oh, the Russians are the evil empire, Russia, whether they were the Soviet Union or later free Russia, okay, and under Putin, whatever they are, right? Now have the Siberian candidate. It's the Republicans who have the Siberian candidate who is now going to be our president and apparently has some sort of secret relationship with the Russians. Both unbelievable and perfectly fitting that the Republicans would be the ones that have a president who owes the Russians. If you sign up for TYT membership, you'll be saying,
thanks a lot, bitch.
TYTnetwork.com/join.